Hey guys, Philosopher here, and today I'm going to talk about the new characters that were released in this blog or revealed in this blog. Sunfire is the last of the Unlimited X-Men team. We're also going to talk about the Hero Asgardian rework. Let's talk about Sunfire for a minute. Not the coolest looking character in my opinion, but an interesting kit. What I think is interesting about him is a couple interesting things about this character as far as I'm concerned. First of all, he's got this like offense up mechanic where he gets additional damage per offense up. So, on his basic, he's going to be applying 1 bleed per offense up in this character. That could be, 4 or 5 bleeds potentially. And when you're a striker, your bleeds tick harder anyway. So could totally see him as a striker just pouring out tons of bleeds. He could be a real major damager depending on how high his damage stat is. So an interesting character there. I do like this offense up mechanic. We'll see it throughout the kit. We'll go there in a minute. I'm going to go right to the passive here. So at the end of this character's turn, he gets +1 offense up to a maximum of 5. In Crucible on spawn, he starts a 2 offense up. And, he's going to get other offense up from these other abilities. So that's really a big mechanic for him. 30% resistance for the full team of the Unlimited X-Men. When he has counter, 10% damage, you'll see he'll get counter from one part of his kit, and then if he has speed up, he gets 10% speed. Kind of like how, you get 10%, essentially your team gets 10% speed from Emma Frost. He's giving himself 10% speed when he has speed up. So on the first turn, this guy's going to be a major damage dealer. On the first turn, he's going to throw out his ult, which attacks all enemies for 200% of piercing, which ignores armor. Applies defense down for 2 turns, which increases additional damage by 50%. Then look at this, gain 75% damage per offense up. Once again, you can see the offense up mechanic here. At the end of this character's turn, clear all offense up in this character. So you're going to need to have ways of building up offense up between your uses of the ultimate. Then he's got a very interesting ability here in his special. Energy costs 10 out of 10, but he gains 5 ability energy at the end. So it took me a little while to figure this out. Thankfully, some smart people in my chat were walking through it with me. So he's going to clear Disruptor from himself and fill speed bar by 100%. So he immediately can take a turn after this. He's going to gain 2 offense up. As I said, there's definitely ways for him to gain it in his kit. That gains 2 counter. As you saw, that increases damage, applies offense up and counter to all allies, which is not restricted to his team. So I could see him potentially being a plug-and-play character in a variety of teams if you need to get offense up on the team. And then he, like for example, on an Uncanny team or some other team if you need him, gains 5 ability energy. So this is effectively a 5 ability energy ability, right? It costs 10, but then he gets 5 back. And what does this do? Well, this means you can cast the ultimate next turn, and you're going to get 100% speed bar. So the way his things are going to work for him is he's going to do the ultimate, then the special, then the ultimate again. And the next time he does the ultimate, he's going to have all this offense up. So he should put out a lot of damage. You're not going to see the basic till turn 4 as a result. Interesting, kind of character, just a major damage dealer. So I guess this raises the question, where does that leave this team? And I think a lot of people are really concerned or skeptical about this team because Darkhold was a team that basically is the best team everywhere, right? If you're in Crucible or if you are in, arena, obviously in Arena, but not just in Arena, in Crucible, or if you're in, whatever, RTA, Raids, Tower, anything. Darkhold's basically the best team there is. And this team requires a comparable investment, if not more, because you've got 3 teams you have to do to try to get Rogue. And it's not clear how good the team's going to be. I assume this team's going to be very good in Crucible. It remains to be seen whether they'll be better than Darkhold in Crucible. I don't know. But are they really going to be that great elsewhere? Is it going to be the best team in the game? Is it going to rival Darkhold? Not so sure about that. So I'm sure people are going to build this team because people like X-Men, and this is a Horseman team, and that game's kind of all about this Horseman thing right now. But I don't know. I think I can see a lot of people who are skeptical of this team because, let's face it, Phantom X and Dazzler aren't exactly lighting the world on fire. So jury's out on this team, I think. We'll have to see how good they are. But this character is interesting. It really, to me, depends on how great his stats are. I mean, this is going to be a stat-based character. And if this guy is got the highest damage stat in the game, he's going to put out a lot of damage because 200% piercing is not a huge multiplier. So even with all the offense up, boosts and the boosts from counter and this and that, the question is really how high is the damage stat? So then we've got at the rest of the patch is going to be this, in addition to, so we have Rogue and we got the Sunfire character. Then we're going to get this Asgardian update. And there's going to be, another war defense team. Yet another war defense team. Now, to be fair, the Asgardians were already a war defense team. They're just old and power crept. They were great when I first started playing this game. They were a big deal. So another war defense team, and it's going to be the hero Asgardians. So they're going to take Thor, Sif, and Heimdall. Sif and Heimdall, I think most of you have not built them up. You can look and see my Heimdall is a gear tier 11. I think that's probably how many of your Heimdalls look, right? So they're going to take those three and they're going to add 2 new characters to be determined, right? Rumor is it's going to be Mighty Thor, Lady Thor, Jane Foster, and Valkyrie, Broomhilda, whatever. We'll have to wait and see. But they've revealed the reworks. Heimdall's, I think, is very impressive. You can see the base stat increases here. And then if you look, I think the special's pretty significant. Clearing 2 negative effects from the full team. Plug and play there that does that on, even if he's not another team, that's really good. And then the passive is really interesting. So first of all, in war, I suppose this could even be on offense, generate 2 ability energy for 2 random hero Asgardian allies or self that were not at full energy. That's awfully nice. On heal block, fill speed bar by 20%. You always love getting speed bar. In addition to having 10,000% resistance for the team against blind, the entire team gets 100% accuracy. So even if they're blinded, like let's say there's a, some way in which they get blinded anyway, they're going to hit nonetheless. All right. And then the entire team also gets 25% crit chance. And on war defense, whenever anyone on the team drops below 50% health, he applies 2 death proof and speed up to that character. So that's very nice. I like these mechanics where when a character goes lower health, you get some out of turn healing of sorts, right? So like Shuri has that mechanic, Squirrel Girl, Night Nurse, where if a teammate gets low health, they do stuff. This is similar, right? He's going to be throwing out death proofs and speed up. That's very nice. So this character got a lot. I mean, Heimdall went from 0 to hero, so to speak, in this rework. Sif, not as much. She got some increases, mostly in focus. And then if you look here, this is significant because applying defense up to the team. I mean, at this point, defense up's kind of required for new teams. It's 50% damage reduction, and almost every top team now has defense up for the entire team. So that's nice. I mean, that's kind of it. She does have her passive. Now she gives 25% resistance to the team, and then on war defense, they on-spawn she gets immunity, and when an ally drops below 50% health, she taunts, which is kind of like Miss Marvel. Similar, pretty much same mechanic here. And then if someone on the team drops below 50% health, she throws out offense up. Interesting. Not as impactful as all that stuff that Heimdall has. Thor, very lackluster rework. Big stat increases, which are nice. You would have wanted to see more damage because the big thing he does is that out-of-turn attack with his hammer when he builds charges up. But very little else, right? On his basic, now he flips defense up. Okay. He gets 20% crit chance on his special. That's it. So, very lackluster. But to be fair, this is the character that is probably the most built up by most players. He's given out to new players on a calendar, and he's been reworked before. And he's a big part of that Wave 1 Avengers team. So, not entirely surprising, but I have to say, for most players, This is another Mystic team. We already have a Mystic Crunch, so most players just do not have the Mystic gear to throw at, a reworked Asgardian team. Plus, it's war defense, so most players just do not have, would ordinarily skip this team. Totally skippable. The problem, of course, is that Scopely now makes it that when a team sucks, they require him for the next Horseman, right? So, A-Force, Dark Hunters, these are all teams that most of you would have skipped, but now you've been pouring all your resources into these teams because you need them for the next Horseman. So what I would suggest you do is hoard your Mystic gear and just keep it and wait, right? Get the shards for the new characters as you can and see whether or not they're required for the next Horseman. If they're not, I think for most of you, this is probably a team that's just not going to be worth the investment unless you went hard on the 3 prior characters before. If you already have gear tier 15 or 16 on your Asgardians, then so be it. But most players aren't in that situation. They don't have a massive Sif or Heimdall. And these reworks that they're doing every patch, increase the number of characters for most players to work on. So for most of us, instead of working on 6 characters this patch, if you got all the new characters, it would be 8 because of these, or excuse me, actually 9. I'm sorry. So there's 4. I'm sorry. Wait. Instead of 4 new characters, there would be 7 because 3 rework characters. But for players who are older players who have all these characters built up to the max, this is sort of like a gift, right? Because you already have your big Thor, Heimdall, Sif, and you're at least getting some additional use out of them. For me personally, I'm not excited about either of these teams, and so we'll see how they go. I will let you know. You'll get to see them on my channel, but I think the new Horseman team doesn't knock my socks off on paper. The Asgardians, I think, for most of you, are very skippable unless they happen to be required for the next Scourge, which knowing Scopely is exactly what they're going to do. All right, guys, I didn't like the video, but if you did, you can smash that like button, subscribe to this channel. If you got comments, questions, cheers, jeers, happy, sad, angry, mad, you can put it below or go to my Discord. That is linked below. It's where we discuss all this stuff. You can also go to my Twitch stream. That is linked below, too.